Hi, I'm Alan Hedblum. Welcome to our show, a place to feel like you belong. To look at the calm demeanor of our next guest, you wouldn't guess that his history involved war and genocide in his homeland. Originally from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kizombo Kalumbula is pastor at Tabernacle Community Church in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and a doctoral student in health psychology. And we are so pleased to welcome him to our studio today. Pastor Kizombo, welcome to Feel Like You Belong.
Thank you so much, Alan. I am so glad to be here this afternoon with you.
Super. So we need to start with a geography lesson because a lot of people get confused. First of all, Africa is a huge continent, over 1 billion people, but there are 2 Congos. How does that work? Give us a short geography lesson.
Yes, definitely. 2 Congos, and not only that, in the past, most people, when they hear where you're from, they only refer to it that I'm from Africa. And ignoring that, Africa is divided in many different countries, about 56 as of today in Africa. So the 2 Congos are 2 countries in the world that has the closest capital cities in the closer proximity to one another. And they're divided by the Congo River. Kinshasa and the Congo Brazzaville. Okay. And I am originally from Congo Kinshasa, or what used to be called the Belgium Congo, then it became Zaire, and now the Democratic Republic of Congo.
So depending on when you study geography, you've memorized a different country name.
That's right.
Sure.
That's historically, that's how it's been. A bit confusing to even native of Congo, let alone people that are outside, but that people that are outside of Congo. So that's my history. That's the history of Congo.
Sure,
yes.
Sure. And now the Democratic Republic of Congo has had in the past several decades a lot of turmoil and in fact really a holocaust.
Definitely. The genesis of this, it has to begin to first helping people understand how the whole Holocaust in Congo began. 1994, we cannot forget what had happened in Rwanda. In 1994, there was a genocide that took place in Rwanda in a span of 3 months. 800,000 to 1 million people were killed in Rwanda, which then caused a huge exodus from Rwanda into Zaire at that particular time, 1994. And my home city, the city of Bukavu, was inundated with close to 1 million people in a span of 30 days.
That's a huge population
Absolutely.
shift.
And overwhelmed the city of Goma the same way, overwhelmed the city with all these refugees of war. Just they were anywhere and everywhere they could be to try to survive. 3 years after that, there broke a revolution that came to oust the government of then Mobutu Sese Seko, 1997, which marched from the eastern side of Congo a huge span of land and a distance to the west, the capital, and Mobutu was ousted out of power.
And people should know the Democratic Republic of Congo is a huge country geographically.
Absolutely. It is humongous.
Yeah. I mean, it's bigger than Texas.
It's bigger than Texas. In fact, it would be probably 3 times smaller than the United States. And don't exactly quote me on that. It's something that we may have to verify, but that's how big it is. Mm-hmm. It is big. But to travel from east to west, as this revolution did in less than a month, was a huge feat. And the only way they did it that way is because the people were already tired of the tyranny that Mobutu had caused for 32 years.
Mm-hmm. And what's the population of Congo?
Currently, the population of Congo is 72 million individuals.
So it's a huge country.
It's a big country,
yeah,
with a very large population, but also a young population. Most of these, most of the people in Congo are young people under the age of 18.
And how did this war, this genocide, affect your family?
It affected my family in a very huge way, because in late 80s, my father came to the United States. Actually, mid-80s, he came to the United States to further his education. So about 86, he came, 87, the rest of my family came, and here they were. The genocide affected them, or the war affected them in a way that once my father completed his training, returned back to Congo, and in between time there, then I had come also to be with them, and that's a whole different story on my part. But they returned to Congo, and my father began to minister in eastern side of Congo. He was planting churches and encouraging pastors in island of Ijwi, in the city of Shangugu, which is in Rwanda, and the city of Bukavu. The genocide affected them in a way that, as they were ministering, the people they ministered to, some of them were victims of the genocide. They fled into Congo and overwhelmed the city, literally almost killing the ministry that he was doing, and put them in danger as well, just like was everybody else in Congo was in danger because you couldn't trust anyone. You didn't know who was a friend and who was a foe during this turmoil time.
Sure, yeah. Sure. So if we come fast forward to now being in Grand Rapids, you're a doctoral student, hope to be finishing up your PhD in the next year or so.
Yes.
In health psychology.
Yes.
And you're focusing on the field of stress. How is that connected to, do you think is connected to your past life?
Actually, I don't think, I know it is. It's connected to that because I've seen the struggle that people in Congo have gone through. I also have seen a struggle that people here have gone through. Some of the friends that I've been with and some of the places I've worked at Spectrum Health, saw a lot of stress.
And these are all non-immigrants. These are
yes,
native-born
these are just
Americans.
Yes, native-born Americans going through stressful situations, seeing some weathering a stressful situation and doing very well on the other side of it, and seeing others who completely crumble and everything disintegrates while they are going through this stressful situation. And that led me to begin looking at this theory called the sense of coherence. Okay. And basically what it does is it kind of tries to determine what are the makeup that an individual may have in order to withstand a huge amount of stress. Okay. Of course, when I look to Congo and my trip when I go there and visit people, I find a vibrant people. I find a people that are now speaking of war is me because of my life situation, but just pushing on with life and trying to live. That's what drew me to the theory that I'm trying to explore.
And if you could get to the bottom of that secret, that kind of outlook.
Yes. Now, if you get to the bottom of that, I think you can have really strong people. You can have people that are prone to thrive and to flourish because they will know how to deal with life challenges.
But that's a great question. What is, or where does resiliency come from?
And that is one of the key components of this theory. And sometimes sense of coherence and resiliency are synonymous in the literature. People look at them and interchange. They have nuances on how different they are, but resiliency is key. And I think the people of Congo are really resilient people. If you look at the level of the stress and the struggles that they've gone through, and yet not just sitting down and crumbling in a corner.
You're also not letting moss grow under your feet because in addition to your PhD studies, you're working as pastor at Tabernacle Community Church. Tell me about what you're doing there.
At Tabernacle Community Church, and Alan, this is such a great question because our tagline is a place to belong, a place to believe, and a place to become. And right now I'm here with you at the show called Feel Like You Belong. So really one of my role at Tabernacle Community Church is to usher all God's people, to give them a sense of belonging. And my God just drawn me to that, and that's what we are doing at Tabernacle, nurturing people and giving people an opportunity to flourish, to thrive, because we know in every single individual there is that ability, there is that possibility of thriving.
Tell me about the makeup of your congregation.
we are a very diverse congregation. We are the best kept secret in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Hopefully after this interview, a less well-kept
Uh,
secret.
people are going to know that you want to belong.
It's our pleasure to educate people.
Thank you.
So tell us about your congregation.
It's, I would say it will be probably, depending on a Sunday, it will be 50% African American, 50% Caucasian American. And by African American, there are some statistics in there that are now probably revealed. We have Native Africans who have been here for an extended period of time, and they're classified by our government as African Americans because there was no place, I guess, on our census boxes to put all these different people group. So there we have it. Some Sunday may be 50-50, some Sunday may be 45-50, flip-flopping Caucasian American or European American and African American. And also an Asian population that is also growing in our community.
So what is it about you that it makes it okay, because you are not from here, and yet they feel you belong or they belong in your church?
I think it's the heart.
Okay.
The heart that we present. We are genuine and we value people. In fact, we tell people this, that they are valued and loved by God and by us. And I think we all like to be valued. We all like to be loved. And because we present the love of God in our hearts to people, people feel a sense of belonging. Yes.
Sure, that's awesome. Now, you were originally from the continent of Africa. Your wife is from here. Your kids are born here.
Yes.
So you're sort of straddling two cultures. How does that work in your life?
You know, one of the points in that part, I would say, I have two really strong places that helps me feel grounded.
Okay.
One is my home. My home is diverse. My wife was born and raised here, was born in Sparta. Born at Spectrum Health, Grand Rapids, raised in Sparta, and met at the college. So she's native born. And now we have 6 children together. And the 6 children together, they all were born here. So they know no other place but this place. This is their home. Their dad, myself, came all the way from then Zaire, now Democratic Republic of Congo, live here. So my home gives me a sense of belonging, just a family, the knit closeness that we have. And then my home church adds to that, because my home is diverse, my home church is diverse, we welcome all people, and we try to provide a space where people can be everything God had made them to be. So I have 2 strong places that gives me truly a sense to belong in the United States.
So if, for our viewers who are watching, what message would you give them to have an understanding about immigrants, people who come here from other places? What would you like them to know?
You know, this is a good question, because people need to know that all human beings have aspirations and desire to thrive. The same aspiration I have, I'm pretty sure, Alan, you have, and a lot of our viewers, all of the viewers of the show also have, that they want to succeed, they want to thrive, they want life to be better than how it was at a certain point, or better than how it is today. So that journey of thriving, that journey of flourishing. So what I would say to our audience is, to the immigrants, get to know them, just as people. Get to know them, because the same very desires you have in your heart, once you get to know them, you're going to find out they have those desires as well. Awesome. So knowing people for who people are is, I would say, probably the remedy for allowing people to thrive and allowing yourself to thrive. Many people ask me questions about Africa. In general, I remember this in college. And it was a bit frustrating because I went to a very small college, and I was among the very minority of the minority students. Every time issues of the continent of Africa came up, I was looked to as I'm the expert.
The representative.
And I did not know anything about all the other places except where I had come from. And even today, I will not pretend to be an expert on 54 plus countries.
It's impossible.
Culture that is so diverse. So the remedy for that is get to know me. And when some of my classmates began to know me, one avenue, and this was a really good avenue at the college, was I was a part of the soccer team.
Okay.
And as we played soccer, and the guys on the soccer team got to know me, and we travel all around Midwest to play other colleges and stuff, it really created a place to belong for me on campus. And it began to override all the frustrations of being the African expert in residence.
The other, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a really great note to end on. I want to thank you so much for coming by and sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
Yeah, you
Thank
bet.
you.
You
Thank
bet.
you.
For our viewers at home, stay tuned. We'll be coming back shortly with some tips on American culture, American slang, and a little bit of humor. What is the difference between the expressions girl, lady, and woman? Many of my students ask this after hearing mixed answers from their American friends and coworkers. In fact, this is not a simple question because there are many special uses for these three words. There are, however, basic uses that you should know. As a rule of thumb, you can use girl for any female from toddlers up to college age. Use young woman until about age 30, and use woman after 30. The word young is often used relative to the age of the speaker, of course. The word old is not socially polite. Instead, you can say an older woman, or you can give the female person's age if it is relevant to the story that you're telling. Say, a woman in her 70s. Sometimes the distinction between girl and young woman depends more on how we perceive a person's maturity and less on their actual age. So what about lady? In the workplace, you should avoid using the word lady for your coworkers or customers. For professionals, especially for native English speakers who lived through the 1960s and 70s women's movement, the term woman is preferred in everyday speech over lady to designate an adult female for two reasons. First, woman is the linguistic counterpart to man, like girl, boy, or lady, gentleman. And second is the feeling that the word lady has classist and sexist meanings. To them, a lady represents a female with no personal accomplishment except maybe connection to British nobility. And here we're thinking lords and ladies. The assumption here is that any modern female who can compete head-to-head with a man should have a parallel expression of woman. Note that this distinction is often generational. For example, older Americans who do not identify with the women's movement or with notions of legal, financial, political equality tend to use the term lady. This includes expressions that mark the position of female professionals: lady doctor, lady mechanic, lady pilot. This group may also identify female office workers as the office girls, though they would never say office boys for the males at the office. There is one exception to the use of the word lady. In a public space, if a female is unknown to you, it may feel more polite to refer to a stranger as lady. For example, the lady who dropped her purse, or oh, this lady was ahead of me in line, so please wait on her next. If you visit our What's Up blog, there is a quiz that you can take to test your use of these words, along with a list of the many special uses I talked about. After you've taken the quiz, don't forget to share it with the other females in your life.